This is one of my favourite images in the entire Five Nights at Freddy's series. An off-centre hanging Mangle, drowned in complete darkness, with the words, "See what you've all done," sitting on the floor of the image. This is by far one of the most menacing images from the series. There's no world presented in this image. It is completely void of context. And seeing this image for the first time after brightening the original was blood-curdling.
Woo! So awesome! Yes, this game is the cutest game in the entire world. Oh my god! Scott? Are you okay? What's going on, guys? Jorko back again, and something dark has appeared on the FNAFworld.com website, and it's actually Mangle being hung? Mangle is dead!
After seeing it, however, I realised something. Mangle has such an original design. This was designed way back for FNAF 2, and its presence was always spine-chilling. But what exactly makes it that way? What is it about that image that makes me feel fear on a completely different wavelength from the rest of the series? Today, we're dissecting the Mangle, FNAF's beautiful abomination. FNAF 2 is, of course, where it all started, and this game was huge in terms of adding new characters. We find the original Freddy crew, except Withered. There's this weird puppet thing that lives inside the music box. There's Balloon Kids, and there's Shadow animatronics, and Golden Freddy is back. And then there's the toy animatronics. Toy Freddy, Toy Bonnie, Toy Chica, and Toy... Wait a second. What on earth is that?
They tried to remake Foxy, you know? They thought the first one was too scary, so they redesigned them to be more kid-friendly and put them in Kids Cove to keep the toddlers entertained, you know. But kids these days just can't keep their hands to themselves. The staff literally had to put Foxy back together at the end of every shift. Eventually they just stopped trying and left him in some kind of take-apart, put-back-together attraction. Now he's just a mess of parts. I think the employees refer to him as just the Mangle.
The Mangle, huh? It's pretty obvious how Mangle differs from the other animatronics. He hangs from the ceiling and attacks from above. Her head is a different colour, not to mention that's only one of two. Yes, Mangle is an absolute mess. 3 legs in a tripod-like formation, one with a white foot and painted nails, 1 arm and a torso coming out from the intersection, a hand as a head, and a head as an arm. And finally, a super long neck, supporting the Funtime Foxy head. This animatronic is 90% visible endoskeleton with wires sticking out everywhere, and only 1 eye on each head. If there was one way I could describe what the Mangle feels like to me, I'd say it's like an animal. Of course, almost every animatronic in the series is based off of an animal, but this one feels way less human. It feels more like a struggling creature, a predator. Perhaps that's why people used to believe that Mangle was possessed by a dog. Or maybe it was because of something bigger, the bite of 87.
Was that the bite of 87?
This was actually an event we first heard about in FNAF 1 that was implied to happen right after FNAF 2 in the timeline.
But then there was the bite of 87. Yeah. It's amazing that the human body can live without the frontal lobe, you know?
It's still up for debate on which animatronic was responsible, but I'd go all in on Mangle. Not only does she attack from the ceiling, there have always been theories that Mangle's static sound effects were police telecommunications. A kid with a missing frontal lobe, something that connects back to Phone Guy's original telling of the incident. A 10-1 is a police code for weak signals. That's why we can hear the conversation through radio static. This is a debated topic though, because it does seem like a bit of a stretch when it could have just been a sound effect caught and randomly picked out for the game. Either way, I really think the static adds to the character. Static by itself, at least I think, can be pretty scary. It can raise the tension. In fact, static has always been a pretty common theme in the Five Nights at Freddy's series as a whole. It actually helps develop the environment. Just like the atmosphere of these pizzerias, the signal is dead. It signifies that something is really not right with this animatronic. It's ironic that this is what became a reality after kids found Foxy too scary, and it's ironic that it resides in Kids Cove because it was made to be more kid-friendly. Everything about this animatronic contradicts itself, and that is why it's such a big mess. Mangle returned as a phantom in FNAF 3 and as a nightmare animatronic in FNAF 4's Halloween DLC. They were both pretty scary designs and kept the character in good light, but what came next surprised everyone. The FNAF World trailer came out, and it was pretty shocking that just coming off of the back of FNAF 4, we were getting something super lighthearted and fun. It was a hilarious trailer that ended with the most adorable thing in the entire world. But what nobody expected was that before the release of FNAF World, we got an image on Scott Games simply titled dark.jpg. And just as you'd expect with Scott Cawthon, if you brightened the image, you saw this. I cannot explain to you how blood-curdling this image is and was when it was released. We are completely used to seeing the Mangle crawl around in vents and across the ceilings of the pizzerias, but seeing him here shows weakness. Something that is so terrifying has been hung by its own paddleball toy. And to put even more emphasis on this darkness, it uses Adventure Mangle, a character that is supposed to be lighthearted and joyful. This cute character has been hung. It has a very different vibe to previous teasers in the FNAF series. It has taken something funny and put it in a completely serious context. In addition to this, the bottom of the image displays the following phrase: "See what you've all done?" It feels threatening, disconcerting. It leads you into rethinking that maybe FNAF World is actually going to have a dark side to it, which, of course, it did. But one of the biggest points to this is how this image is actually structured. The hanging Mangle is shown in the top left-hand corner of the image. It's pretty small, but it doesn't take away from the detail. The head is held up to the sky to show the feet. The words could have been next to him or stretched so that it's more readable, but it only takes up a handful of pixels in the bottom of the image. The Mangle is off-center, and the rest of the image is black. This is all to show there's a vast space of emptiness. You feel as though there might be something else lurking in the void, but no matter how much you brighten up the image, you won't see anything else. So not only does it make Mangle seem weak, it also makes us feel weak. There's a larger story to this. Somebody did this, but what happened and who did it? And so, if any image in the FNAF series made me feel absolute dread, it's probably going to be this one. It's still debated on why this image ever existed though. People speculated that it was a result of fans hating on the concept of FNAF World. Others were concerned that Scott was dealing with mental health issues, and people thought it might be part of the game, but it never really was seen again. I think it's sort of upsetting going back to these big moments in FNAF that were super dark, knowing what came after it and how the series has changed dramatically. I would love to do a video about the darkest moments of FNAF and how it all compares to the franchise in the modern day. Whatever this image was, it succeeded in scaring the crap out of people, and I'm so happy it was a thing. While I would love to talk about how Help Wanted used Mangle perfectly, I think you probably already know why. Build a Mangle is just a hilarious and fun concept for a minigame, and vent repair is something that I always wanted in the series. Mangle crawling towards you and trying to sneak up behind you is honestly terrifying. It may be surprising, but the actual thing I do want to talk about here is FNAF AR Special Delivery. While the gameplay isn't fantastic, the voice lines for this character in particular are super underrated. Not even kidding, there are 50 of these things and each one is really well done. I'm not going to show off all of them, but if you listen to them, you actually find common themes. That is that Mangle's two heads are actually two different personalities. One of them, the one with the foxy head, is super optimistic. She also calls herself beautiful multiple times. On the contrary, we have the endoskeleton head who talks back to themselves. Here are a few of the lines to show you what I mean.
There now, this won't hurt at all. There now, this will hurt a lot. Well, hello there, stranger. Well, hello there, victim. This almost makes us yearn for the days of the Kids' Cove. Never again. Never, never, ever, never. We are a perfect paragon of pleasing. We are a perfect paragon of perilous.
The lower voice always opposes the main voice, going back to the contrasting idea of this mess of the Mangle. On top of all of this, there are some hilarious lines about being taken apart and put back together again.
Why, just staying in one piece feels like a full-time job.
And while half the Mangle is having an existential crisis over its true purpose in this world, the other half believes it is beautiful.
Don't tell anyone, but they're all just jealous of how pretty I am.
And this takes us all the way back to the title of the video. This thing is an abomination. But in nearly every scenario we've seen it in, I think it has been done great justice. It's honestly a beautiful creation that has been at the core of the fan base. If you remember all the way back to before FNAF 2, this was one of the first teasers for the game. Everyone looked at that pink and white Fox animatronic and thought, well, great. A girl version of Foxy that people are going to draw weird fan art of. But then we saw that that wasn't the true nature of it at all. Oh no. This thing had so much more depth to it than we first thought. And then of course, we did end up getting Funtime Foxy fan art, but let's forget about that. So overall, Mangle has been a big star of the series. I don't think the games and concepts would be as engaging and scary without the existence of the Mangle Abomination. I guess fans of me might be starting to understand that I'm starting to put together a roster of characters I'd like to see in the Ruin DLC, and Mangle is for sure up there with Nightmare On. It's usually these characters with unique quirks that people are going to want to see in the next installments. That's probably why Music Man was promoted to DJ Music Man in the first place. In terms of other characters I want to see in the DLC, well, we'll save that for another video. In the meantime, make sure that you subscribe to me so that you can see when that will come out. For this video, I actually put out a little teaser asking you to guess which character this would be about. Not only does the image say pleasing and perilous, but if you brighten it, Mangle is right there. Congratulations for those of you who got the hint. The next teaser won't be so easy though. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next video. Goodbye.